Okay, so hi everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about Capture One, the Pro version, and some of the stuff that you do in the Pro version, you won't be able to do in the smaller, cheaper version. But I do believe that everything that we're going to discuss tonight, you are able to do in the less expensive version. And tonight we're going to talk about importing your images from your camera, or rather from your camera memory card, and using Capture One to create your library. Whether you choose to do it in a database format, which is very Lightroom-like, or whether you choose to do it in what's known as the sessions format, which is an image library tree of subdirectories, which is the way I go. There's less to go wrong with the sessions. If you lose that database, you've lost hours and hours and maybe even days of work, and you have to rebuild that database from the ground up again, and it takes an incredible long time. And that's just as true for Capture One as it is in Lightroom. Please forgive me, I do have a cough. My wife has been sick for a week, and I ended up having to take her to the hospital on Monday, to a clinic there, to get fixed. And now I'm coughing. Yeah, but I did have my flu shot.
You know, it's not protecting.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I've already gone longer than she did, so I'm probably not nearly as bad as her, but I do cough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to bring up Capture One, and I'm going to show you some basic stuff. Okay. So every once in a while, make a noise so that I know that I'm still there. All right. So,
sorry, I'm in on my computer.
Oh, you got it working?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so let me share my screen. And here we go. So you guys got me?
Yes.
Yep.
Great.
Yes.
Well, we close these tabs. We don't need any of these things. We'll move this down here. So the first thing I want to show you is I want to bring up the file system that I'm using for my raw library tree, okay? I'm just going down several layers of subdirectories as we go down to my raw image library. Here's where my raw image library starts, and you can place this anywhere in your computer you want. Okay, raw image library, capture, and then what I want you to notice is how I have this tree set up. All right, so this is the base, capture, and then I have years. Okay, so 2017, then I have cameras. All right, and then I have months, and then I have images. All right, so this is how my raw image library tree structure is set up. So we'll go to 2018, and you'll see that I have a bunch more cameras in this one. Let's look at the Sony A7R2. I have February, November, and October. Okay, let's go to October, and then these are the files. All right, now the one thing I do want you to see is I want you to look at the file names. These don't look like they do coming out of your camera, do they?
No.
No. That's because I have Capture One change the name and make it into something more intelligent. The name always starts with the camera model, A7R2. And then it takes that 4-digit serial number that the camera assigns to every picture it takes, and it stamps that in the file name. And then I have tokens where I can program this thing. So I have mine for the A7. I had it give me my shutter speed, a job code that told me where I was when I took the picture, and then the year. Now, the reason I put the year in there is because if you go out and take a lot of pictures, 99% of all of the cameras in the world will count up to 9,999 and it rolls over to 1 again. So as long as you have the year stamped on the end, it's going to take you back to where those raw files are hidden, okay? So let's go to 2019 now. So this is a new year, right? 2019. The camera is the GFX 50R. The month is January. All right. So let me make this just a bit larger. And I want you to look at how I've changed my file name structure for my files for the new camera. I have the camera name. Now these are the image files. And then I have the 4-digit serial number, 1322. And then I have it tell me what lens I had on the camera. All right. And then I've made other changes as we get down to the bottom. Let's go down to the bottom. I made some changes today. All right. So again, camera, digits, lens shot, and then I have the millimeters that the lens is set to. If I'm using a zoom, my ISO, the shutter speed, the aperture, and then the job code and the year. Now, you ask yourself, that's really kind of verbose. And I have to agree with you, it is. But the thing about it is the more details that I have about the job, the camera, the exposure data, and the lens that I have in that file name, the easier it makes me to sort and be able to choose and search images down the line, okay? So how did I get to this? I'm really glad you asked. Let me bring up Capture One. Let me do one more thing here. Let me stop sharing. I want to show you some things here first. Have you got my screen back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. When I import images into my computer, they always get backed up on an external SSD drive. Okay, this looks big because I'm close to the camera, but in terms of things, it's very small. See? This is a 2 terabyte SSD drive. Okay, this is from Samsung. It's called a T5. All right, they're extremely fast. They use USB-C.
Do you know if they use Thunderbolt 3?
Say that again?
Do you know if they use Thunderbolt 3?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
If you have a computer that supports Thunderbolt 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just happen to have. But USB-C is very, very fast also.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so, and then the other thing that I want to show you is I'm going to plug this into my computer. This is just a little USB-C SD memory card interface. Okay. Now notice on the back of this memory card, you see the extra row of electrical contacts?
Uh-huh.
This is ultra high speed. This is, well, this particular one is a LexJet.
No, I'm just eating.
Huh?
Never mind.
This particular one is a LexJet 2000X. And the reason it has that extra row of pins is because this is a UHC version 2. So they're very, very fast cards, very, very fast cards. And this is a Series 2 reader to take advantage of that. I'm going to plug it into the reader, plug it into the computer. All right, here it pops up as untitled. Excuse me. I'm going to plug in my external drive. And there it is. And this, I have the password protected. So I'm going to type in my password. And log into it and attach it to my computer. And there it is. So I have my backup drive on. I have my memory card attached to my computer. So we're going to jump back into this shared screen now, all right? All right. So let's bring up Capture One. This is version 12. This is the latest version, just came out in December. All right, now automatically the import page showed up because Capture One sees that there's an SD card attached to my computer. All right, but there are some things that we have to do first. The very first time we set up Capture One, we have to do it. Now, I set up, rather than database, the database would be called a new catalog. I set up a new session. All right, and the session tells Capture One that we're going to create a library tree rather than a database to hold everything. So if I go over here to the little file folder in Capture One, then I can go down to my raw image library, and then the capture directory. The capture directory, this is where it's going to place the images on the computer, okay? And if when I set this up the first time, I'm going to go to these directories and I'm going to right-click on them, and then we can go down here and we can say set as the capture folder. All right. And then I have to go down and I have to select an output folder. You can have Capture One send your images during raw conversion right to Photoshop. But I find that very, very bad because I want to go through a day's worth of shooting, do the raw conversion, and save them into an output directory. And then I will go at my leisure and edit those in Photoshop. So I choose an output directory. You'll right-click on that directory, and then you'll set it as an output folder. Okay? As long as you do those two things, you are now set up in Sessions. Okay? We have the base directory set up. So now we can bring up the import dialog, which is this button right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select a source. If you select a card reader, it's going to remember it. And anytime you plug a new memory card in it, it's going to go find them. So these are the images on that memory card. Okay. I click on Include Subfolders because there might be more than one folder on the memory card. All right. So that's set up, and we won't ever have to worry about this again. And then we're going to tell it where we're going to import our images to. We simply select the capture folder that we set up over in this window over here, okay? You just say capture folder. Now, once we set the capture folder, then we can create a series of subfolders. Now, I told you I based mine on the current year, the camera model, and then the current month, and then my files, right? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you can simply click on this somewhere, and you can bring up a list of all of the programming macros. And you can use all of these things to create your folders. You can do address your aperture, your camera serial number, color space. There's just dozens and dozens of things. What I chose was I chose the current year, and then I put in you put in the slash telling it that these are folders, okay? And then I put in my camera model, and then I put in my current month. Okay, are you following? Yes.
So instead of after current month, could you put down, say, Florida? If you did several things in one month and you wanted a subject for each?
Yes, you can. What you do is you're going to choose job name.
Okay.
See this here?
Yeah, I see.
So you go here, and on the very end, you're going to go down and you're going to find job name. Okay, there we go. Job. And you would click on that, and then that would create another folder by the job name. Okay?
Excellent.
And where that job name comes from is each time you import, you type it in. Right here.
All right, that helps me do my workflow.
Okay. All right. So we've set it up, and then it's going to show you the directory path. User mark pictures raw image library capture 2019. Then it's going to put a camera name, and then it's going to put the month. And then in your case, it would put the job name. All right. So now let's go down to the next programming section, and the format of the name, how we're going to modify the name of the images coming out of the camera. Okay. So the very first thing is the model. That's going to make the camera model the very first thing. And this is important for those of us that have more than one camera, right? And that's all of us here.
Yeah.
All right, the model. Then I put in a space, a dash, a space, and then I put the image name. The image name is the 4-digit camera serial number that the camera gives to each image. Then space, dash, space, and then I put in the lens. All right, now getting all of this information out of the EXIF data inside your images. Okay, and then space, dash, space, and then the focal length. If you're using a zoom lens, the focal length is important. Okay, let's go on down here, and then I put in millimeters because I want to know it in millimeters. And only the things that are outlined in gray are programming tokens, where it's taking data from the image file. Okay, millimeters, space, dash, space, then ISO, and then the ISO token. Space, dash, space, S for shutter speed, and then the shutter speed. Okay. Space, dash, space, F, aperture. Space, dash, space, job name. This is that job name right here.
Right.
I typed in Pawleys Island Marsh because that's what I shot today. All right. Job name. Let's go on through, and then the current year. And for me, that's all that I have. Okay. But the number of items in this list is longer than the list above. You can do things like you can set individual counters, addresses, altitude, aperture, the camera serial number, categories. You can have something saved to your clipboard and dump that comments in. Color space, contact city, contact country, contact state, copyright notice, another counter, creator, which would be your name, current date, current day, current week, current month, description, description writer, folder name. Why you want that is beyond me. Document name, drive mode of the camera. Now we're in the EXIF data. Exposure compensation. What you set up, these are things we set on the camera that's recorded. Exposure mode, white balance, firmware, flash compensation, flash mode, focal length of the lens. Okay, the format, headline, city, country, dates, image name, image state, all of these things. ISO, latitude, longitude.
Wow.
Okay. All right, make of camera, metering mode, model, all of these things. Zip codes, anything you want, these can all be in there, okay? So, and then it's set. The first time you set this up, it's down at the bottom. It's going to ask you, do you want to save this as a preset? And the answer to that is absolutely. Okay. And then after you saved it once, every time we make a change to this, it saves it automatically. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then you can check some things that when you're done with doing this, you can eject the card or you can erase the images on the card. But I prefer to erase the images in camera. All right. So I didn't take very many pictures today, did I? So I'm all done. You can select individual pictures and import one image, or you can select no images and import them all. If you have basic adjustments you want to do to the files, you can do those. You can have file info, you can have XF information stamped in. There's just all kinds of things, okay? So when I'm done, I will click on Import All, and we only set that dialog up once. Now here they are coming in, see?
Uh-huh.
And you notice that I'm getting raw black and white images. This camera, they finally did it right in a camera. And you can have film emulations generate raw images. Okay. And then down here, I was playing with my new flash that Richard told me about. This is the first time I put it on there and played with it, Richard.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonably priced.
And it works very, very well. Okay. So see, we're almost done. There, we're done. All right. So those images are now in here. Okay. And it's going to create a little sub-library, untitled album of this that I just put in. And this is just links. These have no space involved in them, okay? If I go down here, remember we set up these files. There's my trash directory. All right. My output directory where I'm going to move my raw images to. Okay. And then this was 2019. I have moved all right, wait, this is just, it's going to take me to where these files are. All right. It starts up here, okay? So I'm just going to go down here. And I'm going to jump on 2019. All right, and you'll notice that here's the GFX 50R and my 850 Pro, which is for scanning negatives. It acts as a camera, and it puts them here. All right, in my output directory. An output directory, these are all files that have been raw converted that are waiting for me to work on, okay? All right, but let's go look at the raw files. All right, GFX 50R, January. So these are all of the pictures that I've taken with the new camera since it arrived, okay? So let's go down and let's look at a raw image. So let me turn these things off. Oops. What did I do? Did that? Bridge, where did we go? Apparently Capture One doesn't like being screen shared too much, huh?
Looks like.
All right, so let's go down here again. And we will pick a file. Okay. So this was me standing on the bridge at the causeway, going over to the island this afternoon. I did set the camera up on a tripod because if you look down here, I had my ISO set to 100. I had my shutter speed at 60 seconds, f22. Yeah, I know. f22, Pawleys Island Marsh, year, lens, okay, the 4-digit serial number and the camera name. So that's the file name. All right. So now that we've got this, I can jump into the editing menus, okay? And the first thing I want to show you, Richard.
I'm here.
Okay. See here where we've got filters
Yes.
chosen? Film standard. There's the actual raw data for this picture. But I told it in camera that I was shooting across with the red filter. Well, this is how it came out and sent to my computer. But I can go back and I can change it to any of these filters on the fly. Velvia.
I know
Linear.
that's pretty amazing because I never thought that they'd be able to do it to a RAW file. I thought it was just going to be JPEG.
Well, this is something that they did. This is something that they did with the new version of Capture One. I bet when you get version 12 that it will work on your.
Oh, well, I can change the filters in Lightroom, but as far as outputting from your camera with the filter to RAW, that I cannot do. I can I can do a standard RAW plus a JPEG.
Yeah. No, I don't even do that. I don't even have JPEG turned on.
I understand. I see they're all RAFs.
Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to share this with you. I wanted you to try this, okay? So there's two editing menus. We have this one with the 3 circles. Or we could go in and let's turn this back to color. So I can go in and I can go and I can do things. I can adjust my white balance. I can choose a white balance picker and see if I can change the white balance on the fly, but I don't need to because we're going to do this as black and white. All right. So now I'm going to go into my main editing menu, which is this next icon here. Looks like a histogram. And I am going to look at that histogram and I'm going to make sure that it's not blown out. As you can see, it's really not. I am going to bring the saturation up because that affects the filtering. So I'm using the red filter. Anything that's blue darkens.
Right.
So okay, so I'm going to bring that up. I can play with my highlights and shadows. I added just a touch of clarity. See, it makes a difference. All right. All right. And at this point, I could go in and I can edit. But I'm not going to do that tonight. We did that in another video a couple of months ago. But should you want to do that, we can go over this again where we edit in non-destructive layers right here inside of Capture One. All right. Then I simply click on Process, You notice that the gear's changing color as it goes around. Now I have a white gear on the picture saying that's been output to my output folder. So now I can go back here and I can change that emulation, and I can change this to anything that I want. We'll just choose film standard. We're going to change our white balance to as shot. All right. And I'm going to go back to my editing menu, and because I'm working in color now, I'm going to pay attention to the histogram. All right, now I'm going to bring my saturation back down to where it's supposed to be because I don't want to blow that. I don't want to blow any of the colors out. Everything else looks fine, and I'm going to click up here and I'm going to say do the raw conversion. And again here we could go through and we could do non-destructive layer editing using the raw data, which is a big deal. All right. We will do this again on another day where we do this style of editing. All right. So I'm all done here. Oh, maybe not. Let's go down to the bottom. All right. Let's let's do a doggy picture, okay? Bring the exposure up a little, watching the histogram. A touch of saturation. Let's bring the shadows out a little. All right. Add a touch of clarity. And then let's crop it. All right. And do the raw conversion. Now, again, the whole point of what we're doing tonight is this file name and that directory structure. Should you choose to do this in a database like Lightroom does, you can do it too. Okay. You're not going to get a choice of where in the database the image goes, but you are going to get a choice as to the file name, okay? So this is done. So let's jump out of Capture One. Let's bring up Bridge. All right. Film strip. Now, I'm going to go to my output directory. And that's where all of those raw conversions went to, right?
Cool.
So here's the two that we just did the raw conversion to. All right. And then here is, I think I would, 4949. I don't know which one of these I did, but you see they're both kind of the same. There's the doggy image. And now we can open them as we would in Photoshop. So let's just drop one of those into Photoshop and do our editing in it real quick. All right. As we did in the our normal critiques and the roundtable critique, we'll go through one real quick. It only takes a minute. We'll bring up Color Effects Pro first. Now, first I would have brought up okay.
But all the color information's still there because it's still raw.
Well, no, now it's not raw.
It's TIFF.
Now it's TIFF because we have done that raw conversion. Now it's TIFF, and now there's no color information. All right. See, I can change saturation, and it won't make any difference at all.
Okay. Now, you know, in camera, when you output to TIFF, I think it's only 8-bit.
Yes, that is true. We'll play with shadows and highlights. All right, and then I'll add a filter. And I go down and I will select graduated ND. No, we don't want that for Skittles. We'll do a vignette lens. All right. And we're going to darken the corners just a bit, okay? And then I'm going to say, okay. Now the computer's running a little slow because we're streaming this video too.
Cool, nice.
All right, now I'm gonna, I don't want to go into color effects again. Let me cancel that. I wasn't paying a bit of attention to what I was clicking on. There we go. I want to bring up silver now. Now, none of the color filter is going to work in silver. Because why? I want somebody to tell me why the color filters aren't going to work.
You don't have any color in there.
And I don't, the colors are all equalized at this point. All right. But here, you can further adjust the highlights. All right. But we don't really need to. We've got to select it. Thing. I can take down the highlights just a little bit. All right. And maybe we'll soften the shadows just a little there. And then I'm going to go down. And I'm going to turn on Vignette. I'm going to just do a lens fall off, and it's going to be a very small amount. I want just to see a minor bit of detail down here, and there wasn't before, so I was just bringing that back, okay? I'm going to say, okay. So let's say that I'm done editing this, okay? The last thing that I will do, I will go to image mode and convert it to grayscale, flatten it, discard the color data, even though the color data is not usable because it's equalized, but there are 3 channels. So by discarding the color data, we make the file much smaller. And then we simply file, save as, and I'm not going to have to change much in that file because it has everything in it that I want. But, oh, and on this one, for this picture, I use the 32-64 zoom. So now it tells me the lens is set at 39.6, okay? So I'm going to go down here to where my job code was, and I entered this as polyxylon marsh. And I'm going to say Skittles. And I'm going to save it into my archival directory, which is nothing more than a holding directory for me to move it around into my finished. I have another file tree for finished images. These will get put in those directories later. But I'm going to save this as a TIFF. It's a 16-bit. And I'm going to say save. Okay. And then I will do one more thing. I'll go up under image, and I'll do image size. And I'm going to change this to 2000, the longest side. Say OK. And I'm going to go up and I'm going to say save as. And now I'm going to put it into my iPad image directory, into a working directory. And it's going to go in as a JPG. Okay. And I'm going to save that. So that is the image flow from camera to import to raw conversion to editing, and then saving the 2 files. Okay, so now
Mark,
I will go to my output directory and I will delete that image because I've edited it. I no longer need it there. And then I can go down to the working directory. These are all waiting to go up to my iPad. Okay. So here's the long exposure that I did at Polly's today. There's the doggy. There she is. And there's the doggy. Now these are weighted. And next time I plug my iPad or my iPhone into my computer and do a sync, it's set up in the sync software on iTunes to grab all of these things and move it up to both of those devices so they're there.
Question.
Yes.
When you save your JPEGs, what color space are you using?
Oh, this is black and white.
I understand, but are you using SRGB or are you using?
They're still at Adobe.
Okay. So if you wanted to post on the web, you switch it over to SRGB?
Well, changing it to SRGB is not going to make any difference because the algorithm to move from Adobe RGB to sRGB is going to do the same exact thing that Facebook or 500 Pix or Instagram does. They're going to automatically save it as sRGB too.
Okay, I mean, because some of them don't like the Adobe RGB.
Yeah, well, like I said, they won't like it, and they will reconvert it to sRGB.
Yeah,
but it's
like
the same algorithms.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so when you go to full color, they want sRGB because I've tried to do Adobe and they don't like that.
Who doesn't like it?
The lab that does
that's an easy fix.
No, I know, but sometimes I forget and then I try to upload it and it just I got to figure out what I did wrong.
Well, see, the thing of it is you don't have to worry about it. Capture One will do this for you simply by clicking a button. You can have it Capture One convert it to sRGB before it ever sends it to your computer. Okay.
Oh, just like Lightroom can export sRGB or whatever you want.
Yeah, and so will this. You can change your export to sRGB should you choose. And you can do that in Photoshop as well. All right, so this is all the capability of the two programs. A lot of it overlaps, right? Okay. She's talking to me. She's saying, I don't want my picture taken.
But she's not going to get up and attack that flash unit?
No. She's saying it hurts my eyes. What she really wanted me to do is just to feed her. Okay, so let's stop sharing here for a minute. Let's go back. So, do we have any questions about the capabilities of doing image importation from your camera memory card?
Nothing. That looks pretty awesome.
I think you explained it to the fullest.
From this to the computer, and doing an automatic backup every time you import. In the same directory tree on this, it creates the same directory tree on here. Okay? And it's fast. And as you know, I was using another program to do this called Ingesting, but they stopped support of Ingesting for the Mac when Mac upgraded to the latest operating system.
Will Capture One allow you to sync up your external GPX files?
That I do not know. I cannot honestly answer that.
You have another program that does that.
There are a zillion programs that can do that. In fact, you can take what is the name of that program? You can take your Bad Elf and download that GPX file to your computer. And I have a program here that will take that GPX file and search through all of your images. You'll find dates and times that match. It stamps them with those lat longs. Okay. Here it is right here. It's called My Tracks. And you can simply point My Tracks to the directory that holds today's images and load the GPX file into the program, and it'll go through and it'll stamp them. Okay. So I'm going to stop the broadcast at this point. All right. I hope this answered some questions and made you think about the capabilities of Capture One. For those of you that shoot Sonys and Fuji's, Capture One now supports all of your cameras. Cool. And it will do all of this very, very easily. In the Fuji world, in the new v12 of Capture One, and it is going to handle those film simulations quite nicely. All right. Well, let me stop this.